The WWE is a harsh mistress for wrestlers. Just when you think you've reached the top of the mountain, bam, you're back at square one. Vince McMahon is notorious for throwing unpredictable twists into storylines. So it's no surprise there are a lot of wrestlers who had the championship taken away from them in the blink of an eye. So let's get to the list. Here are 10 WWE wrestlers who held the championship for only one day. Before you check out the champs, click to subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know when new content drops. Randy Orton and Triple H, No Mercy 2007. The first one-day champion on our list is enough to make your head spin. Back in 2007, John Cena and Randy Orton were in a feud that had some heat behind it. John Cena had been the champ for a while, and Orton had plans to end that ASAP. As it turns out, that chance would present itself at No Mercy. Unfortunately, Cena ended up tearing a pec muscle, which canceled the match. Nevertheless, Vince McMahon, in his infinite wisdom, awarded Randy Orton the championship at the beginning of the show. No wrestling, no nothing. But before Orton could congratulate himself too much, none other than Triple H comes out to the ring to challenge for the belt. Even though Randy wanted no part of it, Vince made it official, and Triple H ended up winning the title. Is 15 minutes of glory a slap in the face or what? After Triple H defended his title against Umaga, Orton decided backstage to use his rematch clause. And after an amazing last man standing match, Orton was again declared the winner. In case you weren't following, the championship changed hands twice over 3 matches, all because of a hurt pec. The WWE is always guaranteed to keep you guessing, that's for sure. CM Punk, SummerSlam 2011. In 2011, CM Punk hype was real. He was all over the main event scene with his out-of-this-world pipe bomb promo. In case you don't remember, this was a combination of scripted and improvised lines about his issues with the WWE. Some say a few of these issues hit too close to home, but that's a story for another day. After CM Punk won the WWE title at Money in the Bank 2011 from John Cena, it set up a legendary championship unification match at SummerSlam. With Triple H as the ref, CM Punk was able to capitalize on his fame and become the unified champ. Well, for a moment at least. In a totally unexpected moment, Kevin Nash rushed the ring and hit a tired Punk with a jackknife powerbomb. This attack allowed Alberto Del Rio to take advantage and cash in his Money in the Bank to become the new champ in mere seconds. CM Punk's rocket-powered summer came crashing down in one of the weirdest ways imaginable, via a big, sexy jackknife. Maybe these kinds of questionable storylines contributed to CM Punk ultimately leaving the WWE in 2014. All we know is that we'd love him to stop with the MMA and get back to wrestling. Rey Mysterio, Raw, July 25, 2011. The Giant Killer, the ultimate underdog. Rey Mysterio was huge in Mexico with his high-flying antics and later made his way to the WCW. Afterwards, he showed up in the WWE in 2002, and that's when the real fun began. He led the Cruiserweight division, won the Intercontinental and Tag Team titles, and a lot more. He even won the World Heavyweight Championship for the first time at WrestleMania 22. But the reason he is included on this list isn't really a moment of glory. On Monday Night Raw on July 25, 2011, there was a champ to be crowned. CM Punk had just left, leaving the WWE without a champion. It took 2 weeks, but eventually the tournament that WWE had set up was won by Rey Mysterio. He was the champ for a minute because John Cena showed up and challenged Rey to a match that evening for the belt. And, spoiler alert, Rey lost. All the years of build-up only to get the crown taken away by John Cena. Mysterio left the company in 2014 and eventually took his talents to the Lucha Underground. Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie, World Tag Team Champions. Let's jump back in time to the late 90s when tag teams were weird and Mick Foley was lighting up the ring. In 1998, Mick had a pretty legit feud going with the New Age Outlaws. Well, the many personalities of Mick at least. And because he couldn't physically split himself in two, although it's a safe bet he tried, he had to find a partner. This brings in another weirdo, Chainsaw Charlie, aka Terry Funk. This bizarre and kind of embarrassing character was loosely based off of Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Together, Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie fought the New Age Outlaws on a January 1998 episode of Raw, only to be defeated by disqualification. They then fought each other, with the match ending in a no contest as members of the Outlaws attacked both wrestlers and threw them in a dumpster. But it ain't over yet. The two finally got a chance at revenge at WrestleMania 14, and they won. Only there apparently was a mix-up with the dumpsters they used because they were stripped of their title the very next day at Raw. They were forced to face the New Age Outlaws again, and they lost. Talk about a dumpster roller coaster. Jillian Hall Divas Championship. Let's let the ladies have a little fun, shall we? Jillian Hall wasn't the biggest name in the WWE when she worked for them from 2005 to 2010, but she certainly made an impact in her own way. She initially appeared on SmackDown, but in a change-up was drafted to Raw in 2007. She often found herself aligned with Melina in tag team matches, which is what makes this next part sting just a little bit more for her. In October of 2009, she was set to compete against then-champion Mickie James. What nobody expected was for Hall to use the ropes as leverage and pin Mickie, becoming the new champ. She seemed just as shocked as the rest of us. She totally freaked out, screaming, and gave an acceptance speech too. And to add to the excitement, she even sang a version of Lady Gaga's song Paparazzi. Weird. She was interrupted by guest GM Nancy O'Dell. Wait, who is that? Just going to run a Google search. Oh, that's who. O'Dell said Melina had been traded to Raw and would be facing Jillian for the title, right then and there. The obviously spent Jillian was smoked by Melina, and the championship changed hands again. All that championship drama in one night is a lot to take in. Pop quiz time, wrestling fans. Jillian Hall's reign as the Divas champ in 2009 was the shortest of all time. But which female WWE superstar has the record for the longest reign at the top? Stick with us for the answer at the end. Daniel Bryan, SummerSlam 2013. Yes, Daniel Bryan is the next wrestler on our list, and this guy has an unreal story. Let's see, where do we start? He choked a man with his tie and got fired from the main roster on his first day. He had to leave wrestling altogether because of an injury, and he was in the main event of WrestleMania 30. A lot of ups and downs, but let's get to the good part. Bryan was fired from the Nexus, but made a surprising return in SummerSlam 2010, turning face. He eventually beat The Miz for the US title, and later grabbed the World Heavyweight Championship as well. After all of this, then WWE champ John Cena picked Bryan to face him at SummerSlam for the title. When the night came, Daniel actually beat John Cena clean. The American Dragon was triumphant. But seconds after, Mr. Money in the Bank Randy Orton came to the ring ready to cash in. After an attack by Triple H, Bryan was easily dispatched and lost the belt. He would eventually become WWE champion again, only to have it vacated the next night on Raw. Tough break. Welcome to the Two-Timers Club, Daniel Bryan. You're in elite company. YOKOZUNA, WrestleMania 9. In perhaps the most unmemorable WrestleMania ever, there was only a moment or two that really stood out. It was Jim Ross' first Mania and the first outdoors, but with a WrestleMania as bad as 9, it needed some kind of controversy. Enter Yokozuna. He had won the 1993 Royal Rumble pretty much just by being a fat guy and got a title shot for doing so. This was the first time this happened, and it led to quite the odd moment. He matched up against Bret the Hitman Hart, a technical master, and it was a pathetic showing. In an attempt to spice things up, Yokozuna's manager, Mr. Fiji, threw what was said to be salt in Hart's eyes, blinding him and setting up the pin. He went to console his friend when he was challenged to a title fight with Yokozuna by his manager, Mr. Fuji. Bad move. Hulk ripped him a new one and pinned him in 22 seconds, becoming the new champ. This whole affair had fans scratching their heads, as it was obvious that the company wanted the Hulkster back in the top spot, even if it didn't make any sense. John Cena and David Otunga, WWE Tag Team Champions. This is a frickin' weird one. We all know John Cena. He's one of the biggest stars ever to come out of the WWE. Record-breaking championships, and perhaps the worst tag team champ ever. Hear us out. He held both the WWE Tag Team Championship and the World Tag Team Championship twice. But throughout all of those reigns, he was the champ for only 71 days total. Pretty pathetic, all things considered. And one of these days is especially pathetic. We suppose that when your partner is David Otunga, you shouldn't expect too much. match. But one day, fighting alongside the Nexus, by force we might add, Cena was able to win the tag team title. Together, Cena and Otunga beat Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes at 2010 Bragging Rights pay-per-view. But that's where the funny business starts. Otunga was forced to take a pinfall against his fellow Nexus members. Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel became the new champs in order to secure the belts within the faction. After all is said and done, this shouldn't be any sweat off John Cena's back, but he still will carry around this bizarre blight on his record. If he gets sad, he can just look back on his 25 championships. Roman Reigns, Survivor Series 2015. After the breakup of The Shield, the WWE pretty obviously decided the star that shined the brightest of the bunch was Roman Reigns. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins were left to feud with each other, while Roman was put into the main event of the next two pay-per-views. The fans didn't take too kindly to Reigns, as he was constantly met with boos, so Rollins got boosted up and took the title at WrestleMania 31. But after Rollins was hurt, the WWE decided to give Reigns a chance at the top again. At the 2015 Survivor Series, he was able to defeat Dean Ambrose in the finals of a tournament to decide the vacant WWE champ. But this shining moment wasn't met with love from the crowd, just more boos. Then Reigns decided not to shake the hand of Triple H and knocked him to the ground. In a display of instant karma, out of nowhere pops up Mr. Money in the Bank, Sheamus. Sheamus made short work of Reigns in just over 5 minutes and claimed the title for himself. We'd like to say this was a cool moment, but it ended up being one of the lamest PPV endings in history. Sheamus 515, please. Andre the Giant, main event 1988. The last selection on our list is a big one, actually a giant one, and it's a controversial moment still talked about today, even though it happened way back in 1988. We're talking about the matchup between Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan at the main event, one of wrestling's wilder moments. It was a sequel of sorts to their classic fight at WrestleMania 3. In the late 80s, Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan were massively popular, so much so that the demand for a WrestleMania rematch had them fighting again for the belt, except this time things would go much differently. The referee for the match was Earl Hebner, a man in the pocket of the one and only $1 Million Man. When Hogan's shoulders were temporarily down for the count, he naturally kicked out from under Andre the Giant. Unfortunately for the Hulkster, Hebner ignored the kick out and declared Andre the champ. This got even stranger when it was revealed that the original ref for the match was supposed to be Earl Hebner's twin brother Dave. Then, in a deal prearranged before the match, Andre gave up the belt to the $1 Million Man. His brief reign was over. We guess everybody really does have a price. Thanks for sticking with us. So now you get the quiz answer. The most combined days as champ for a female wrestler is AJ Lee with 406, but the longest straight-through reign is Nikki Bella with 301 days. But who knows what the future holds? Well, that's all for our video. Which reign do you wish lasted longer? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you check out more from the Sportster to see more crazy stuff about the WWE. You might pick up enough wrestling tips to become champion for a day, but probably not. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.